What's good, y'all? I've got some awesome buffs for both Nosepass and Probopass, two very underappreciated Pokemon in my opinion. This comes in the form of not just stat boosts, not just abilities, but also a lot of move buffs and changes. So before I get into this, I do want to have a quick disclaimer for any new viewers to check out the Google Sheet linked right down below in the description and look at all 600 plus move buffs and changes. I don't know why the way I worded that sounded like it was like a command. I mean, I would strongly recommend if this hack does interest you to check it out. But of course, like you're your own person, do whatever you want. But yeah, it's really important that you do give this a look. It's very easy to navigate. It's got all different categories, all organized into these little hot links that you can click and it'll take you to them. Or honestly, if you're totally new here, I would recommend just scrolling manually and just reading, and seeing what all the new moves do. It'll be pretty easy to get accustomed to what they all do once you check it out for a little while. But with that being said, Probopass and Nosepass have some sick buffs. They have reliable recovery, so they have Set Amend, which Nosepass with Sandstream will heal 2/3 HP. That is, by the way, one of the major things. If this would load, please. One of the major things I changed from the original video for these guys, or the original rendition of their buffs. Nosepass was kind of underwhelming. It had Steelworker, which like fits very well, but it's kind of shit. Like you can just evolve. So it's not that great. Sandstorm and Lightning Rod, however, also I give Lightning Rod to both. Previously, Nosepass had Volt Absorb and Probopass had Lightning Rod, but I give them both Lightning Rod. Gives them a nice special attack boost that they switch in, and it gives them a nice immunity. Gives them some nice defensive utility. With that infinite usability capsule, they can easily switch between the other abilities. Because looking at them on paper, you'd be like, oh, why would I ever use Lightning Rod? Sandstream is it cracked, and the Levitate is cracked, and you'd be right if this was competitive and you had to pick a set and stick with it, but it's not. It's a ROM hack, so you have access to infinite usability capsules, instant EV training items, and all of these TM and tutor moves that you see right here. And of course, all the level up moves, but you can't actually go back and reteach them until the end of the game. So you have to be careful with which ones you delete and which ones you keep. But yeah, Nosepass is incredibly bulky, and so is Probopass. They have access to reliable recovery, like I said, in the form of Set Amend and Fortify, which is objectively worse than Set Amend, but if you happen to delete it for whatever reason, you can teach Fortify on Evolution. But Set Amend is objectively better because for Nosepass, obviously it's a 2/3 heal, but even for Probopass, you can use him in the sand and still heal by 2/3 HP in the sand. Otherwise, it's just flat out, 50% recovery. They also have Recharge, which you could in theory use if you wanted to. It's kind of fun. Not that great on them though, because they're not electric type, so it's not even stab. But essentially, Recharge heals them by 1/3 and then gives them the charged up effect. I would say something like Parabolic Charge is worth keeping, but Recharge is like eh. Ancient Power is really cool. That gives you a +1 special defense boost now. And obviously in the sand, Nosepass is already incredibly bulky with the Liolites. It's genuinely worth using over Probopass if you want. However, Probopass is much stronger, has that additional steel typing, which gives it a lot of valuable resistances, and has Levitate, which is obviously great for him. Rock Steel is already a really good defensive typing in the context of a ROM hack because you don't have to worry about staying on super effective moves. You can always just switch out. You don't have to worry about the AI making predictions, switching in your Probopass and make like close combat, predicting your Probopass to come in. That doesn't happen. So you can always guarantee that your Probopass won't be taking super effective, 4 times effective attacks. And even if it does, it can probably live. It can definitely live non-stab ones just because of its raw bulk. But if you go to Probopass, the typing is actually really good because, of course, it's still part steel, right? So not only do you have a good offensive combo in Rock and Steel, which with your newfound special attack stat is actually really nice. You also have only 2 weaknesses to water and fighting. You're only using Lightning Rod when it's useful. Otherwise, you're keeping Levitate. Lightning Rod is more of a situational ability that you can teach swap on for certain boss fights to switch in and get a special attack boost, and just for that electric immunity. It is useful when you have the hindsight of the trainer documents available to you at all times. Same goes for Nosepass and Lightning Rod. Sandstream, you would be using that most of the time, but in some boss fights, maybe Sandstream is going to hinder your team. Maybe you have another weather you're trying to run. But honestly, if you're running another weather, you'd probably just rather evolve into Probopass at that point. Either way, Lightning Rod is more of an optional, situational ability, and it's a good one. It's very good in those situations, and it fits really well with the whole magnetism theme that they have going on. Levitate is obviously very fitting for Probopass, and then Sandstream. It's not like the epitome. It's not like the pinnacle. Sorry, not the epitome. It's not the pinnacle of fitting abilities for Nosepass. Solid Rock was something else I considered because the only other pure rock type. There isn't that many pure rock types in the hack actually. There aren't that many pure rock types in general in vanilla. Regirock has Solid Rock though, and technically that wouldn't be that bad of overlap, but I figured Sandstream is a lot cooler, and there was no pure rock types with Sandstream I noticed. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's let Nosepass be the GOAT. It gives him very good reason to be used, because before it was probably one of the worst quote-unquote Eviolite viable Pokemon. I would only ever have used Nosepass if like I was about to fight a fighting type trainer or something, and then it's like, okay, I guess Nosepass is slightly better for them, but now it's genuinely a real choice, and you can actually pick. Another thing I didn't mention so far in the video somehow is the fact that Probopass is now a semi-pseudo legendary. The reason I didn't mention that is because previously he was 550, which is like pretty standard for this ROM hack for certain Pokemon. 3 stages is very standard, and then for 2 stages, I just give it to ones that I think fit the vibe. Like Hariyama, for example, is like a big, strong guy. Bronzong, Claydol, Pokemon like that fit the 5. Lunatone. Well, there's single stages, but you get my point. The reason I didn't mention it is because he didn't actually get a stat buff. No, see, he did. Sorry, he got 10 special attack from the original video. The rest of it just went back into attack because his attack was a little bit min-maxed, very min-maxed. So now it's less min-maxed. But special attack boost is nice from the original video. A couple new moves, right? No, actually no new moves from the original video, but that doesn't matter. Their moves are all great. Strange Impulse, drop special attack by 2. You still have Parting Shot, which is beautiful on them. Their resistances are huge, man. Like, Rock Steel is really good once you, especially with Levitate, like you're literally only weak to fighting in water. That's like Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn is freaking weak to 2 types, fighting in fire. It has 1 4 times 1 2 times weakness, and then has all those resistances, and then of course that poison immunity, and then Probopass also has a ground immunity with Levitate. So it's a great Pokemon, genuinely, and it's incredibly bulky with the HP boost and the slight defense boost, and it's very strong. You have Mineral Shower, which is essentially rock type Draco Meteor. You've got buff Power Gem, even Ancient Power is good. You've got a plethora of incredible coverage moves to choose from. You've got Calm Mind for setup for certain boss fights with your reliable recovery move, can be super solid. You can see on screen there's literally like a Signal Beam, Aura Sphere, Psychic, Shadow Ball, Scorching Sands, Earth Power, even Solar Beam, Volt Switch, all types of great coverage options. So he would be an absolute blast to use. And of course, Nosepass also has the advantage. Well, first of all, he is technically bulkier overall, although he doesn't hold an Eviolite, while Probopass can hold a different item. I believe Nosepass is still technically bulkier, especially than Probopass, but he doesn't have the advantages that come with being a steel type. So it's up to you which of the 2 you want to use. I would say if you have a Sand team for sure, if you have a Sand, Sand Rush ally or Sand Force ally or another Rock type on your team, Nosepass is definitely going to be something you want to do. But if you don't have that, then I would say Probopass is definitely more worth it. Not to mention that Bug Resist especially is super valuable because you resist like very common strong attacks like First Impression and other stuff. So yeah, being a steel type is never bad, obviously. So, but yeah, pure rock isn't terrible. It just doesn't have that many resistances. It only resists normal fire, poison, and flying. Not terrible. 4 resistance is actually good. I'm kind of underselling it. It's just, I don't know. You have a lot of weaknesses. Not that that's bad. I've already covered why that's not a bad thing at all. But I just think Rock Steel's a lot better for typing. So the main advantage of Nosepass is the fact that it is technically a lot bulkier, and the Sand itself is a very useful trait, especially with the Set Amend. So if you like Nosepass, go ahead and use it. If you like Probopass, go ahead and use it. You can always evolve later. You don't have to evolve at level 35. You can use it until level 47, and then right before, you can use it for all of Ulu, and then once you get to the foundation, you're like, okay, now I need an answer for this Pokemon. All right, let me evolve now. You can evolve whenever you want, especially in a team lock, Nuzlocke. I would say maybe waiting to evolve is a little bit smarter, but you can evolve right away at 35. Just depends on your other teammates. Both of them are great, though. Electrify is a cool thing they could do with Lightning Rod. That is 1 PP, but it'll essentially give you a free special attack boost, and it'll negate their move. So say, for example, the opponent has like a Z move, like one of the boss trainers is going to use a Z move on you. You can Electrify. I believe it works on Z moves. So if it doesn't, you can just use it on any attack, really, and get a free special attack boost. It does also give a +2 speed boost with the Z move, but like, you're so slow, the +2 speed wouldn't mean shit. Yeah, Metal Burst is obviously great with like Fortify/Set Amend. Ancient Force is a really cool move that's essentially Judgment, so I give it to like Ancient Vibe Pokemon. There's a full list on the move sheet if you're curious what else gets it. It's essentially Judgment, so you can get any cards moving the game, but honestly, it's not even that great. I would low-key maybe use Ancient Force just for Rock Stab or Steel Stab. Probably Rock Stab, because Flash Cannon, well, the good thing about Ancient Force is how versatile it is, right? But you already have great coverage. You don't need coverage on this guy anyways. I would probably rather just run like Heal Move, Parting Shot, or Switch Move, like maybe Assault Vest for certain boss fights with Volt Switch or something, to like pivot in on an attack. You have the freedom to teach TMs whatever you need. So the customizing your sets for the most optimal matchup is always the best way to go. Only move I would never really delete would be Power Gem or Mineral Shower or Ancient Power. Otherwise, though, you can, and maybe a heal move like Set Amend. Otherwise, though, you can kind of go crazy. And you don't need Set Amend anyways. Like, you don't have to use it, especially if you have like Wish support or something, or Leech Seed or something on your team. But Just depends on your personal preferences. Either way, it would be a blast to use both of them. Nosepass also has a respectable special attack stat of base 80. It's not like the strongest thing in the world, but it does get all the same good coverage moves that Probopass does. I see a lot of these weird coverage moves. First of all, I'm very generous with a lot of them, and I also think it fits their vibe. I know that like they learned telekinesis and other weird shit like gravity and all that crap, so that's why I see psychic. And also like they're this weird floating Easter Island type head, so I think these magnetic weird little like ancient relic guys can use these weird moves. I think it's pretty cool. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to cover. He's just a great Pokemon, bulky, strong, very fun to use. The only other Rock Steel types are Mega Steelix, who is absurdly bulky and is of course a Mega, so it's not really a comparison because you can always choose to use Base Steelix, who isn't Rock and Steel, and then Bastiodon, who is bulkier. I'm almost positive is bulkier overall than Probopass. However, they don't have Levitate. They have Rough Skin and Filter, I believe. So let me just quickly fact check. Why did I switch tabs, man? It's gonna lag now. I don't know why I switched tabs. It's supposed to be on Gen 1 to 4. Yeah, I know Bastiodon definitely has more HP, but less SPDF and more physical defense. I know that. So yeah, and Bastiodon also has a good physical attack stat now as well, and he's also pretty min-maxed just because I really like them. And he has a couple other cool little unique tools like a different move pool and all that stuff like King Shield and other useful things that Probopass doesn't get. Yeah, here's the comparison for you. So way bulkier physically because of the HP and defense, but special defense is probably relatively comparable because of the HP actually. So and also Filter. So Bastion is a bit bulkier, but of course he doesn't have Levitate, and he's a physical attacker while Probopass is special, and Probopass is a little bit stronger as well. So it's up to you which of the two you would rather use. And also, in a Nuzlocke, it's not exactly like you get the optimal choice between them. That's about it though for Probopass. Really cool Pokemon. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I quite like it. It's pretty cool. I appreciate you listening this far into the videos. Shout out to you. I'll be back for more buffs and changes coming up. Peace, y'all.